Leaf, please don't delete. I paid over $500 now on your fines, and I've sent several hundred to your house before I can prove this. Part of it on your Indiana My Case page, if you type in your name, you can see that I paid, I think, at least $520 now on your felony fines. And I thought I paid two $20 payments on Dave's burial, but there's a $20 and a $28 one. Maybe that's me. So if you didn't pay it, then I did. I've also sent $350 to $400, I think, to your house, not including a $25 debit card from an insurance thing I got for a Cologuard thing, which if you didn't get to do it, I waited a week before I spent it. I wasn't playing games. I was also trying to see if there was somebody there that was getting... I figured you'd talk to me after you saw I was giving you money and a lot of stuff over the past few years. And I have changed. It's not just because of that. I've got proof. Please talk to me because this is for the girls' safety. I can prove that I'm a damn good person to be in their life. And if you will listen, if you don't believe it, I can maybe convince you to where you did wrong, either voluntarily or involuntarily, but you don't need punished. I don't want that for you, and I don't feel that toward you, and it would hurt me. And I can explain why. I'm wanting to work with you. All I'm wanting in the end is no guarantees or promises, but eventually you start communicating with me. And if you'd have to be on your own, interested and proactive in joining me to help me, like build a bridge back toward the girls. And, you know, if there's things you lied about, which I understand, yeah, it was wrong, and some things you did were wrong, and a lot of things you said were wrong. Although I was awful and damn near evil with you, I was a victim too in a lot of ways. I've changed. I understand the dynamics now, and I've helped a lot of people. I've proved it. And while I'm not going to do anything to you, I have this feeling someday, man, it's crossed my mind a few times about getting certain few people back who essentially, for all intents and purposes, murdered my children, my two families. Okay, you were a victim. You reacted out of desperation and self-defense and survival. Okay, I believe that. And there may be some time, if you and I are communicating, that you may not agree with me on something eventually. Not soon, but eventually I would want you to communicate. And then I would want you to agree with, well, if you agree with me, I would want you to agree to do certain things, to work back toward building a relationship with the girls and exposing a lot of proof to them of who I was. And if there comes up something like you lied about this or supported the child molester claim, which I don't know that you did. I don't even know that you supported the child support felony thing. I kind of think you and Rebecca were dragged into that restraining order thing. And Rebecca didn't know who I was, and it took her a while to trust me and deal with me. And I fucked up with her once and threatened her like an idiot because I was trying anything, desperation out seeing the girls, and I didn't mean it, but I don't mean that I wasn't guilty. I just meant I was manipulating and trying anything because I want to see my girls, and I should be with them, and I'm good. And the less people they have in their lives, the more dangers they face. They do. They are going to be victim of some things that are ugly, not just one. Stuck in a basement 20 years by some kidnapper, raped, murdered. And there's a lot I can teach them. Even if it's just being a bulletproof shield. If they don't want to talk to me, fine. If I can interact and be in their circle, so to speak, you know, then that is good for them. Same with Eileen. Can't believe at all that you removed her because of weed. That'd be hypocritical, to be honest. But, hey, the thing is, she said Tim did, but she shouldn't be out of their lives. She's reluctant to talk to me now, and it's probably because of threatening her. Anyway, and the weird way I worded something, I was trying to offer her a chance to inherit a house, a friend of mine. I was going to see if she wanted to come up here and be basically his boss. He's high functioning, but he gets a disability check over $1,600, and all she's got to do, he's real passive and everything. And I was going to work with her however she wanted to do it, like let her stay at my house or me stay over there and be involved a lot until she's acclimated. But he could pay, like at the time, over 15 grand, and he would have had another 10 or 12 grand in a year. maybe a little more, because he makes $1,600 a month and he was working on the side, and he had a financial predator, and I wasn't wanting to stay with, well, I had my own place. I begged him to come stay with me and get away from that predator. He had another girlfriend named Bridget, who, it was sickening. He wasn't even partners in any way with this Coco, this financial predator, who has stabbed him, beaten him up, bitten him, had him working a part-time job about, I don't know, 30 some hours a week, earning a couple grand on top of the money, stealing off of him. And I tried to do something, he wouldn't help me. He shot me in the foot on it when I called the adult protective. They went right over there and interviewed him while she's in the house, and he come tell me. And that was a small period of time when he was proactive about it. And I asked him to come up, but when he wanted to come up finally after a couple years of begging his ass, which when I stayed with him, he was acting funny too, trying to tell me near the end of every month I gotta stay away for so many days or something. I can't stay 10 days in a row. Boy, he sure went that way with fucking Coco. And he runs Bridget off, lets Coco dominate that situation. Coco put up with the neighbor kids calling her nigger for a year. And she was, not Coco, but Bridget. Bridget was a good girl. I think she ended up dying in the hospital. He abandoned her. But I was going to get Eileen, if she wanted to, she could get a job, I don't know, 25 hours a week or so, about $20 an hour, plus inherit the house. He was going to have so much down. He was going to have like 20 grand in 6 months, or 15 right then. He could put down 7,500 to 1,250, depending on how much he had. He could build back up the basic savings for emergency rent payments, about $250 every month with that. And he could pay in toward a severance payment at any time for any reason. She could leave, because if she left and took the severance, which would be, I don't know, 150 or 170 a month, plus if he's working a side job, which he usually did, some of the things might double. They would increase like 60% to a little over double. So that could be up to like 250, maybe 300 a month severance pay if she takes off at any time that's hers. Well, that's only like $4 grand or whatever a year. So she takes off after 2 years. That's what, 6 or 8 grand or something, 10 grand at the most. But she loses a house, so she's going to get the house if she would have done that, or whoever. I was trying to find someone because I haven't been in touch with him, but he may by now or soon, in a couple years, get afflicted with what broke his parents down, and then in a few more years die. She wouldn't have to do any kind of nursemaid stuff, just be boss of the house, not let him break any rules. He's passive anyway, man. He's got a weird condition where he seeks people who takes advantage of him. Me and one other guy who stayed with him a short time, this black guy named Nate, he was in Westville with. Nate came back around and was friends with Jerry and was looking out for Jerry like I did. I stayed there only 30 days. I got lucky and got a whole rent voucher paid. It's paid every year at the beginning or at the end of the year. It's paid up until January now. It'll be your place, more than mine, if you come stay here. The plan is, though, is I know when you first get somewhere, you'd be worn out, nervous, all this and that. I will help you with supplies, including chemicals, whether they have to be from the street, but you're going to have to graduate toward transitioning off, at least partially, in the near future, like using Adderall or Ritalin, or what do they call it, Vyvanse, to help you. You can get those if you test out for ADHD. There's a test they give you. You can go to Lake Avenue, 2710 Lake Avenue, Melody Gavin or Melissa Bennett, Park Center, medication-assisted therapy, MAT treatment. You can get Suboxone. If you're not opioid tolerant, it can help with your meth too. But I would take probably that condition, 0.5 milligram a day, twice. Try to keep it at 1 and stay under 2 ever. Don't ever go over that. But try to keep it at half for a while. It'll help. You could get the max you could on Ritalin or Adderall or whatever. And I know that ain't the street stuff, but I've helped many people. Well, about 16 attempt to get sober. Something like that. 12 of them really tried. 8 of them, when I checked after some time, they were still sober. there's a method by using those 2 prescriptions and a couple of lighter prescriptions that are lesser controlled, and this stuff called kratom. It's kind of illegal in Indiana now, but it's legal in some states. They say it gives people a feeling kind of like a speed type feeling at a certain amount, and an opioid feeling at another amount. I started to take it once. I think that's all I tried it. I didn't do it right. I was up in Michigan. It was right before, I think it was right before I got sober. Well, it was near, because it was in early 16. I remember I came back and I smoked weed some after I'd been at that hash bash. I smoked it like 3 days in a row, a time or two. I had done meth with my friends. What was for me plenty of times. I don't care for it. I mean, cocaine, I felt a buzz and it was enjoyable, but it also had an unenjoyable aspect, even during the buzz. And afterward, it was worse. But meth was like different. It's like, even at its best, there wasn't much to it. I remember even shooting it and trying these, what they called hot rails, and I did feel more of an intensity, especially when I injected it, like I did my choice drug, but I don't like it. It's like 85% dirt in my mouth with a bunch of dog chips in it and 15% cotton candy that ain't impressive. So it's easy for me to stay sober. There's a funny story behind it. It ain't impressive. I don't lord it over anybody. I avoided people for a while, a couple times when I first was getting sober. Like 09, the fall or summer, that's when I began getting sober. And I've got a record. I've got a lot of supporting proof since the summer or fall of 09 where I've been sober, including up until I went to jail. I got blood tests every month with Philip Johnson. I was with him over 3 years, about 3.5 on Suboxone. My first doctor was an unethical drug dealer, man, and I told him I can only come up with so much, and he kept raising it. He was dirty, man. I'd go there, and this guy who I think wasn't medically licensed would issue the medicine, Terry Eider or something. He's supposed to be financial. David Hall or Terry Hall was the doctor. And I left, and he was following me like I was a dope man. He was a junkie, wanting the money because he was always buying shit, and the other guy be talking about when you'd come in. Well, I couldn't stand his raising up the price. He kept doing it, so I went back to get my script and abused it. And of course, a lot of people would rather be on those, and I wanted to be sober again. Suboxone made me level, and I worried before I took it, thinking, well, this stuff will, if it don't make you high, then there ain't no way it'll make me level. And I should have thought, well, it's just another drug that I'm just going to abuse, but I didn't. It don't work that way, and it was great. 3 years blood tests. I never had one flunk test with Johnson, and then I went to jail. Didn't do it while I was in jail. Some guys were abusing it because they were so clean, anything is changing their state of mind. And I had offered to do it, and it was expensive anyway, and I didn't want to do it near. Actually, I got proof that I gave it up. I had about 100 some with me, maybe up to 120 when I went to Rochester. And they told me I could have taken it if I went in this one room, and I said, I'm going to give it up now. I figured I was going to DOC. I thought I'd be gone forever with another felony. That's why I was psychotic, man. It wasn't right what they did to me. A lot of people overlook being driven so mad that you're thrashing mad and you're not the same person, and I wasn't. And I know it's almost impossible for you to get past that, but if you can, there are some great things that'll happen from it for you and for the girls. And for me, the greatest thing will be service. I don't need much, want much. I'll have a better life, and I deserve a better life. Like, I don't have license, and I've got one ticket in my life, and I'm a hell of a careful driver. You know it. You don't have your license. You could come up here. We could get your license back eventually. We could help you get your felony expunged. You could bring somebody, but if you bring somebody that's using, that's not a condition. I actually want you to have a spouse if you don't have one. I thought you had one. Then it looked to me like you might not because of your fines not being paid. Not saying somebody should or could pay them, but, I don't know. I'll explain later, because Mom and your mom said that you were dating that blonde guy, and I contacted him. He said basically to kick mud and leave you alone, but it ain't going to happen because you made some mistakes, and whether you like it or not, you need to face them, even if it is dealing with me, because I am for you, and I'm transparent, and I'm all the way open. I'm actually trying to get you people in court who will help you, and I'm one of them. I will testify. I've offered. I've tried to get a hold of Chris, that nurse. I think I found her name and then I forgot it. I've got brain damage. I mixed shit up. God, what was her name? What was her name? If you type Chris, nurse, Alliance Healthcare, Fort Wayne. I don't know if that'll do it, but I think I found a picture. She looked different than when I saw her, but I think the face is the same. She was a nurse when I was in there in 2015 or 2018, and she did an intake. And the way her demeanor was toward me, she's got to know who I was. And it surprised me. Her demeanor toward me made me think, man, she must be a really good person. Just a clean, clear person. I thought about all she did for you. I'm glad she was there for you. I am, because that demon wasn't me. I'm responsible. I'll live with that, man. Believe me, you or anybody won't ever have to tell me what I did, and it'll weigh me. I found some type of accomplishment, and it means that I've got a performance and ability that I can serve people. And you've got to let me help you. You've got to let me prove it, whatever it takes. Jumping through a root, hold a hoop backward on a roller skate. Plus, it's your obligation too. Oh, you could sit back and keep avoiding it, or you can look at it and say, man, I've already jacked it because I let my kids go. They went down to Virginia or Georgia, and I did leave wrong, and blah, blah, and he's going to do this. No. The only way to do that is, if you don't want me to be angry, then don't avoid coming to the table. I believe against punishment. I don't like it. It doesn't work. Being angry at you, I don't operate the same way. Not at all, okay? If and when I get angry, and the times I've thought about snapping, it was well earned, man, for the people who deserved it, and that ain't you or anybody in this circle, okay? I want to build these circles and relationships if possible. Now, I don't know about your mom and Jada. I'd like to see that for me and at least the girls, but, I guess they're like in the same rut that most females are. You guys don't understand what's coming of the world and how you guys do need men. Oh boy, you're going to need them, and you're going to need who you can. That don't mean you got to suffer, but you won't suffer with me. There's ways to prove and verify what I'm telling you more, and there is a lot of light at the end of the tunnel, and I need this too. I need this to begin healing and perform well again. I got to get a bunch of fucking teeth fixed. I got to get a bunch of weight put on me. I got to get a bunch of stuff done, and I need a light at the end of the tunnel, man. I need to stop suffering in agony, which I don't deserve and which caused a lot of this anyway. And I need to have opportunities, and I need to see results of my altruism and my proactive doing things for people. If you come up here, if you're on the run even, you're fine here. I will not turn you in. I think you may be now. I thought you might be because there's a red W by your name. But then I saw some wording the court was saying, and I haven't called them, and I haven't even called your attorney. I sent a couple quick letters with some money to him, two $50 money orders and a $10 money order. I'm going to send a 20. The 10's for him. The 20 is going to be for him. And I'll scrape up another 20, especially if I have a reason to live and perform without a sword of death hanging over my head. Impending doom I can't possibly escape. Felony after felony. That shit's crazier than anybody knows, especially feeling the empathy. I didn't even want to mention this, the pity for my daughters and the sad, bad feelings they would feel. Okay? You got to come to the table. It's the right thing to do. You got to step outside yourself, because those little girls still exist for me. And I don't want to go mad and crazy on people out there, even the ones who deserve it. That would cheat the ones who I can perform well. I want to write my book, man. I mean, by my action, my book of the best I can be. That's who and what I am now. And I want to keep pursuing that, So I'm telling you, you have a bearing upon that. And if you are on the lam, you can come here. You can come here. There's not going to ever happen anything where you're going to get into anything with me or this or that. No, this will be your place more than mine. I'm 99% certain that I'll have to go at first. It's not going to be a matter of asking you if you're okay with me staying. It's going to be a matter of what's obvious, and I'm sure you can't feel okay around me until we start interacting in places where you don't feel it's a threat to be interacting with me. After that, you're going to know. I mean, if you could come right up here, hell yeah. I don't want to leave my place, but I definitely, worse, I do not want to go on like this. I will leave and go through that hardship because that's life, that is living, that's possible. This is living death. This don't get any better at all. That has a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so my plan is you come here, and it's probably clear I have to go. And the thing is, though, I want to find a male for you at least, especially if you don't have one. If you have one, as long as he's stable and not like I was, and you can count on him to be here and not be mean to you, but especially be here too. That's very important to me also, because at night I don't want you out. There's, it may seem overbearing or whatever. That's the only time I'll act that way, but that's for your own good. I did that with a couple of roommates that didn't like it. Most of the women, they were fine with it and, flattered by it and felt warm if I was, following around being a little overbearing sometimes and chauvinistic to protect them. But one of them, she wanted a relationship, but she wasn't good relationship material, and I couldn't be into her. She wasn't a good person. I didn't like her. She was what a lot of people consider good looking and stuff. I remember Barry saying some stuff, but it's like, dude, you don't even know. Looks don't affect me now anyway, and she just wasn't a good person. And she chewed my ass out one day real hard, and I let her do it, and I was just tired, and it just woke me up. She was on her way to work, woke me up. I'd been up over 2 days. And I don't handle well being up a lot. I've had insomnia. And unlike my friends, even when I did that shit with them, that speed, I've done it only like 10. I don't know if I did it 12 days, 1 month, but I'm high strung anyway. And that shit's like unappealing. I stayed up a couple of days a few times. I don't like it. This time I wasn't even on that. I was getting rid of bed bugs. The only time I had them in my life. I'm positive now after she left, finally, and I told her to leave because of shit, her attitude. I'm sure now she brought him in, and cleanest roommate I ever had, man. It was this junk too, man. She dated this dude in Wabash too before. She brought this shit in like mementos or something, and it was absolutely worthless. She didn't even take it when she left, and I'm pretty sure that's what she brought in right after she brought that shit. They were in my bed. Because, I'm a male and I was bigger at that time anyway. I need to pack my weight back on, but they go toward your breathing. And I went one day when I used to be able to do laundry, pulled my bedding up and saw them. And there was like a couple dozen or so or something. We got lucky. Man, I flipped the fuck out. She was at work on thirds. I'm like going all over this house thinking I'm going to throw literally everything out, even microwave, but I didn't. I got this whole house with alcohol spray and bleach. Thankfully it was summer. And I think that right there did it. But I then learned about diatomaceous earth, which I wish I'd known before, because I had this kitten I had to let go to mom's and she died. I thought Christy killed her, but the vet told me, and the vet's tone like she wasn't tolerant of me and was kind of upset to hear this shit. I think Christy didn't. But, there were like 3 cat deaths there, including the white one. But, which I've swallowed them before too when they went after the girls, but like that time we all went in there after that white one. But this was a kitten. She wasn't even weaned, couldn't eat the milk and egg batter I usually made, so I had to vomit it up after I held it in my stomach an hour pre-digesting it, and that's how I fed her for several weeks. I was going to go kick this chick's door in. She was like a $3,500 cat, a Russian blue they call them. And I didn't even know anything about it. Anyway, I had to let her go. She died at mom's, broke my goddamn heart. I loved her. And I've been through a lot. I've got the heart of a daddy, a lover, a healer, I want to be, and a helper. And I'm not doing well, and I need this. I need your help. This will help me. I'm not asking you to guarantee anything at all. I know exactly what's involved. I know it's going to be complicated building a bridge toward the girls, and I know you may have distance with them. But we can team up together. Plus, just for the sake of reparations with you and helping you, I want to do that. That's very important to me because I feel like after that, I feel that's the main thing in the way of my dating. And of course, getting back with the girls is more important than me committing to some chick. But I do want to have a spouse again and start dating. And, oddly, in that sense, you're more important than the girls. They're more important than you overall. But in that sense, Anyway, look, I have paid on your fines. I've guesstimated about $520 now toward your felony fines. There's a $200 payment just before Christmas, I think, of '03. It might be your bond out or something, I don't know. But if it's not, then I paid $700. I'm not sure what I paid, but I paid 20. I thought I paid 40, but it might be 48 on Dave's burial. It looks like there's a $28 payment and 100 and some payment, which might be from your fines or something. I don't know. Or I don't know if they sold that property. If you guys had it, it's what little I could glean. Sounds like they may have sold the property or foreclosed. I don't know what's all going on, but it looks like you may have moved to Claypool, and I'm trying to get some info to you. I'm not trying to, I will not even let you go to jail. It would traumatize me and cause me problems, and fuck with my aspirations if you do. So you will be safe here, and this place won't be dangerous. I know you might think of it that way, but I will be here if you can be cool with that. I want to stay not too far away. Hey, I will put 2 phones, and I will show you how you can activate them and see wherever I am at any given time. 2 older phones as cameras and 2 phones as locators through Google Find My Device and Google Map App Timeline. And I'll tell you also, when I give you the devices, I thought you were going to be in work release, so you wouldn't mind anyway. Well, you don't want tracked, but I thought, well, the main thing is you might have a warrant and you're worried. But if you do, don't worry about that. You can come up here. You'll be safer here. I do think eventually you should go in, and if you're welcome, me to be a family member and a friend and to talk things out and help you, then my point is, hey, there's a way to get yourself ready so you don't have to anticipate being on withdrawals or, doing the best you can. And if you get yourself ready with someone who's practiced in it, I'm very experienced now in helping people get off of meth, transition off. You can be on medicine that'll help you for years. In Wabash, I don't know if they still do, but one doctor there, Dondra, what's her name, Gressley, told me, or Salmons told me that the doctor, whatever his name was telling people they have to use Suboxone 6 months and wean off. Up here, you can be on it pretty much for life, and it's pragmatic. And I could be on stuff that's more abusable, but I'm not. I do great. I've got like 2 or 3 bad tests. One, honestly, was these opioid bun things at Kroger's. I swear to God. I did opiates like 4 times, maybe only 3 since this time that I got sober in the summer of 2016, July or August. I've got proof of tests. I took them like several times randomly per month. The first, 9 months or year, I think. And then a few times, like 4 times, 3 to 5 times per month for the next however many months or year. I've been taking them, except for maybe about a period of a year under Dr. Panzer. They stopped giving them to me. But here in the past couple years, I've been taking them. When I was in agony, they upped my Suboxone thinking it would help my pain. I didn't even ask them. About a 9-month period, I couldn't walk 90% of the time. I couldn't leave my house over 10 days, at least 2 times or more. I was on my back 3 times or 3 days at a time for 15 times, probably 12, 15 times in about a year and a half. No shit, man. And I couldn't even get on hands and knees. When I came home from the jail after that and the injury and shit from the last time I was in jail, and yeah, you guys screwed up there, but that's for later. Especially if you come to the table, don't feel I'm going to hold anything against you and screw myself out of it. You'll face the music on your own, and that's not something you wish on somebody. If somebody's going to change and be better, then that, punishment's anathema to everybody. But anyway, I had problems on it, and I went to opiates, man. I was in agony, and I had to go through further by coming down to the point of withdrawing some on the Suboxone so I could clean my receptors. You got to wait a few days before the Suboxone will withdraw from your opioid receptors. So standard full agonist opioids like whatever will work. And I didn't get a prescription because I don't go for those. But one time I went to the emergency room and tried to get a script for this real bad toothache of this fucking tooth, and it was obvious, and this chick wouldn't give you anything. I'm like, look, I'm an addict, man, but I've got a fucking incredible record. I don't know, I've not checked it out, but you might go far and wide for many years in history to see somebody that's got a record like I do. Since 2009, really, except for about a year of that time, I've been sober. And it ain't like, it is work and it is change. It's incredible change, but it's not like I'm good or better than anybody. You'll get it. I won't even have to say, hey, you got to get sober. I don't. If people are going to need to be here, then they're not going to be sober, and that's fine. If you're never going to stop using, okay. Okay, I'm going to work at it. Especially, I'm going to be worried if you show signs of self-abuse or neglect or usage of needles and shit. I'm really big against that, and I push my friends, my family is what you'd become if you're here, into, hey, no, we got to try another administration route. I look for people deceiving me and stuff, to get what they need or want or whatever. I lie to friends too. I will steal some of their shit if I have access to it, and they usually let me have it because of their withdrawals. I stash some later. I stash a little bit, especially meth. Users will always use way too much and not even know it. It don't make a difference. So I hold on their shit a lot. It gives me an opportunity to prevent them from incidents which will get them arrested, which has happened. There's many times that my friends have avoided getting arrested and they otherwise would have if I wasn't holding their shit. I can steal some of their shit off of their baggie and put it back, and not enough that they will have any ill effects from withdrawal or anything, but when they're sick and shit, and it's like that also allows me to make a point with them, and it's like, hey, here we are, and they never stop, and they knew that either I went out and got some, which I did, and they figured out, a couple of them actually figured it out quick. I'm like, yeah. They didn't even stop me from holding on to their shit. They probably wanted me to hold on to it more so, because it never comes up empty or what have you. Also, it allows me to prevent them from being out and about with it, and then they're not out so much. I mean, they could be out and do it with someone else, but they usually want to get home, do their shit, and they got to have it. So it's not an issue. There's no issue about them doing it. They're going to do it. And there's just shit that I do want to dominate. I do want to control, preventing them from dealing. I'll come up with $200 or $300 a month if I have to get you some shit. I don't think it's unreasonable if you got to do street drugs for a while to expect you to be able to accept, okay, if I come up with $200 or $300, $400 if it's absolutely unbearable for you to have any less. But I don't think I've got to have that much. I think a couple hundred at the most, if I've got to supply you, and we can transition you off. I'm assuming you could transition off half street drugs and half pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals and whatnot within 6 months, 9 months at the most, hopefully. But there's no fucking hard line in the sand. And I know that you ain't just gonna be lazy because you can stay here no matter what. I also won't have anyone else here, which I've had a lot of that. I was checking out having Jimmy Hitlaw here, who used to be my best friend, but that's a long story. With him, I only wronged him one time. The dude wronged me. I've shown him a lot of love in a lot of ways. He's been a big, bad hypocrite. Before he went to jail in 97, he had abandoned his girlfriend, was dating my ex, and I supported it, and we were still friends and shit. And he was wanting help to get out. I went to his dude's house, Tony. That's how I became friends with Tony. Tony couldn't do anything. Tony didn't get him out. He swore here Tony did, that Leah did, and Leah got him out. I was friends and roommates with her. She'd made a pass at me one night, sexual. The first night we was together when we were drinking, I went over there, thought she hated me. She invited me out. We went out. That happened. I didn't want to lie to him when he was getting out, although we weren't having sex. But I didn't want to lie to him, but he couldn't take it. He was a hypocrite too because he wasn't with her. He'd abandoned her. And we weren't doing anything. That's why we were friends and we were roomies. And we were really close, but she wanted me to lie to him, and I see her point now. He was unevolved. And after that, he almost killed some dude. I get blamed for it. I covered his ass when we went to get him and was going to take him out of town. He said he ain't got to go nowhere, was unfriendly toward me, went back inside. I found out later he did take off out of state, and Leah told him they weren't looking for him anymore. I don't know if the guy died or what, but he beat him up for being gay or whatever. And he told me some bullshit story, exaggerated what the guy did. The guy made a light pass toward Willie Miller, and it's a long story, but Gump told me about it, and I got blamed for it. Actually, somebody was blaming me because I had a red car. Jimmy had a red bandana. Well, anyway, I also found him passed out twice and got him up and carried him and shit. One time he finally came to and stayed there, and then ended up getting arrested in the foyer of Red Apple Inn. The other time I carried him up with his hypocritical ass being mean to gay people to Troy Hurt's house, and Troy didn't mess with him or anything. Troy's probably afraid for his life. He was passed out drunk with his shit hanging out there at Jonathan's. Called this chick that was my roommate. She was with her stepmom and me and her on voting night in Wabash, like 2000, I think maybe it was, or 99. Called her a bitch and shit. When I was going away to get some beers, come back, he's passed out. I carry him up to Troy's. My roomie screaming at me and shit. She wanted to have a relationship, but she was fucking volatile and nasty. And that made it real nasty that night. I didn't have my wheels, and we were in town with hers. We lived in Huntington. Jimmy overlooked all that shit. Never looked me up until he wanted a place. Then has asked me for a place before, and I don't hear from him. Over the past couple of years, I hear from him off and on. And then here months ago, maybe a year ago, he scoffs at the fact I help people out and, oh, you run the homeless shelter. And I don't talk to him again after a while. Then he wants a place, and then he comes down here at Christmas. Within 22 hours, I kick him out. I've kicked very few people out. There were 2 people that I kicked out. One of them I was done after letting her in and out here for 4 years, and she just didn't show any goodness at all. And I invested in her like a sister and family, like somebody's old lady. She wanted to date or something. I didn't actually, but I wanted her to be family. I invested in her. I even tried to get her to bring guys in here that was good for her. She brought a couple of guys here. She didn't bring anybody bad. All the people she brought here were good for her and took care of her, actually. There was this black guy. She was afraid to date this black guy in public because of prejudiced people. And I told her when she was in jail she should get him. She was seeing this white guy as a bus driver. He's an asshole. He didn't do nothing for her. The black guy, I can't remember his name. He was a really good guy. She promised to bring him up, and that would show me that she's on the right track for one thing. She didn't do it. First day she gets out of jail, she's off and running, doing shit. And I could tell you the story how she didn't do it right, and I still gave her break after break. She never paid anything here, never showed no respect. One time I thought I might have a warrant for a little debt, maybe a civil court, but one time. And she knew it, and she don't offer me a place to stay. And I think she was about ready to have sex to get some drugs. That's fine. She knew that. I mean, like, we were brother and sister. I was cool with whatever the situation was, but don't fucking abandon me, man. When I need a nickel and I've given you, same way you put up with me, basically. So I've been through that, and I'm mindful of that. And what I want's an opportunity to treat you the way you did me without being a couple. And I want to see you not be hypocritical. I kind of feel like you're hypocritical because, like, if we were a couple, you put up with this, this, and this. Yeah, I know you stopped, but you should put up with nothing now. You've got a lot of goodness to receive from me. And you don't have to, there's no man, you should not pass this up because you owe your kids a debt, and it involves working intimately with me, not as a couple. I don't mean that word as physical or romantic. It'll be obvious in front of your dude. I will sit and talk to whoever your dude is. It's important for me that you have a dude. If you don't, when we meet, I'm going to, if I'm allowed, as a friend, try to coax you and persuade you and convince you to meet a few dozen men, if it takes that, to get at least a couple or 3 lifelong platonic friends. At least 2 real friends if you can, and a couple or few decent associates. That'll make me feel more secure about your safety and whatever, if and when something happens to me. Okay? And then I want you to have one spouse for life, man. I want that for myself too. I want to get out meat. I want to get healthy first, get some carpet under my feet and some things done, okay? And this will help me, all right? So I do have ulterior motives, but they're the right ones. I want to be a great, great person. I've done a lot of great things, but I'll never be a great person no matter what and all. But I am a great person now. I just can't be because of the past, adding everything all figured, okay? You got a lot of good reap here. You've got nothing to worry about. It'll be safer. If you're on the run from the law, actually, this will be safer. My concern would be, how it would affect you turning yourself in. And I would support you and be there every fucking step of the way. I'm trying to figure out now, without making too much noise and getting your name noticed, where you're at, what's going on, because I saw the court committed you to work release. I contacted a guy named Gerard or Jared. It's a version of Jarrett at work release. He replied, and my communication sucks. And I was basically asking the staff there, and they replied it was cool.
Hey, could you ask Leaf Cox first before? I know this is public information about residents, and I try not to call you an inmate, but could you ask Miss Cox if it's okay with her if you share certain info with me regarding the conditions of her residency? Because I've got phones for you, and I don't want to pay for a fucking $20 plan. That's a lot to me, but I'll be getting a lot more if you guys come. I'll be working. Watch. I could probably get a check too, and I'll work on the side flipping devices and plans. But when you come here, and if you want to do something, even without working officially, you can get an unofficial job at some places, but you can get some money up and start flipping shit because there's stuff you can get free and start making money off that free shit. I can show you how. But I'm going to be having income, this and that, more so, especially if I have a reason to live. If you guys will start talking, I will pay you and the girls $50 for an hour of speech, 30 for half hour, up to twice a week for each of you, if you guys will. I'll pay you ahead of time for 4 talks out of 6. I know I can pay ahead of time. The other ones will have to work something out, especially if you don't mind accepting something that you can easily sell for 75 to 85 or 90. That means that if I owe you 50, you can surely get that 50 easily. Okay? But I'm going to get you a couple phones and data plans. We can sell them if you don't want to use devices I've handled. Please do not factory data reset them because I have a bunch of info on them and I want you to get acclimated. There's a lot of handy info and bookmarks I'll save, like free clothing, furniture. Like, there's nuances too. You can get free furniture at Mustard Seed, but you don't want to do it because you want to wait until you're settled in and we get you a voucher. And I'm pretty sure we can get you a totally paid rent and utility voucher like mine. You'll have this place, but if you get one, if you're on the run, I can give you my place and I'll take the one that you have, so that way you wouldn't have to worry about being traced down or traceable. But I don't want you being alone without a male. Even if you have a female roommate, I want to figure something out in that aspect. So I want to figure that out. But I live at 1305 High Street, apartment 2, 46808. And in case you ever need to use my Medicaid info for non-emergency medical transport for free. Also, I have a monthly bus pass that I'll get you. We'll put in something so you can't lose it. A lot of times I forget anyway to use that, but I'll give it to you. And it goes most of the time within a couple of blocks anywhere. And you just want to make sure if you've got to go anywhere kind of far that you take the last bus you want to try to take in is about 5 or 6 because it will stop running like the 8 to 9. That's when it stops, and it starts about 6 in the morning. Some of the routes go 2 times an hour, like the Parkview, the number 4 that goes up to the northeast. There's a 4 that goes north. It's kind of weird. Usually they go east or west, like the 2 east goes to what? I forget, Georgetown. The 2 west goes to Time Corner by the Jefferson Point and Walmart. Apple Glen. There's a 6 north that goes by my house, Frankie Park. It goes up St. Mary's to Kroger's to Frankie Park, back down. And all the buses, most of them leave at 15 after each hour. That means they come by my house about 5 minutes later. There's a place you can stop under the underhang. If you're waiting on the one going north to Kroger's, you would wait over there about 15 after. There's a little factory on the east side of St. Mary's. You go down to St. Mary's 2 blocks east of me, and then you turn right, going south, across the street. It's about half a block or something. A little bitty factory's got overhang. And they used to have a thing where you could watch it live without even having, well, you ain't got to have GPS on to watch it anyway, but you used to be able to watch it on double map. Before that, it was route watch or route match and move it, but it's not working for some reason. But there's ways you can guesstimate it. And I can tell you, if you want to catch one going into downtown from Kroger's, it hits Kroger's about 53 after hours. So you get here waiting by the church on Sinclair, 2 blocks from me, at about before 53 after. You'd be waiting there about quarter till, actually, because it could come a little early, but it usually, or a little late. It'd be there about 55 after. And a lot of the buses get back downtown Central about at the hour, and they leave it a quarter after. Okay?
And there's some that leave at 45 after because they're the ones that are real busy. They have 2 routes per hour. Anyway, that's usually on business days, business hours, 4 to 8, something like 8 to 4. There's other aspects we can get you free clothing 4 times a year from at least 4 places. Wellspring Interfaith on Broadway, Martha's Closet at Lifehouse Church on Kentucky Street, St. Vincent de Paul, just south of the downtown bus station on Clinton or Calhoun. But they have a place, you can ask them for a voucher to go to the other place. They give more clothing than free. I don't know where it is, but I talked to a guy named Mike when I let some teenage homeless girl stay here, Desiree, and she was taking my clothes off when she was... she stopped staying around me because I acted improperly. I let it be known that I was kind of disgusted when I found she's dating guys my age, especially this repeat sex offender, Kevin Fett, which I don't blink if they call you a sex offender nowadays. 13% of most people or more are innocent of stuff, and it's probably worse in the sex offender category. But this guy, I believe it, especially after she was attacked one night. I don't know if it was him, and I never asked her or told her not to tell me because she lied to me that night to spin me off when she asked for my help. I could tell she's in danger. Anyway, he told me they had another place, but I never found out where it was. He said they get more clothing and better. And then there's that Wayne Township trustee. And these places also give food or this stuff and that. The Catholic Charities and the Broadway Christian Church, they have certain hours, certain days. Like you got only the first so many people at Broadway Christian Church. They help you get a community ID, which can help you get a real ID. And it can be used for certain things. You can get some food, clothing, sometimes a voucher for this or that. You can get a gas voucher, sometimes a bus pass half off. Sometimes some churches used to have several one-ways or a few all-days, and you might go around and get like 8 to 12 all-days. And, it depends. You get these resources and info. You go to the Community Harvest Food Bank, if you can get one of their vouchers from one of the churches that hand it out or one of the organizations, 25-pound voucher, you come out with about a 70 or 100 pounds because you get 25 pounds in the dry aisles and you get 10 pounds of meat, 10 pounds of dairy. With the dry aisles, you want to pick the expensive stuff like coffee or whatnot, and not pick something that's real cheap for like it's worth $1 a pound. You get 10 pounds of that. That's a shitty deal. You want to get coffee now. That's like $10 a pound. You get the idea. And they have odds and ends, some hygiene. You can get, even at the Mission, you can eat 3 times a day there, even if you're not staying there. The homeless shelter serves 3 meals a day. Every day. St. Mary's Soup Kitchen, and I think St. Vincent serves a lunch every day, 3 days a week. St. Mary's, at least recently, been serving, I think, milk and bread. There's different food banks. You don't have to have address proof, some of them you do. Clothing, there's furniture. You can only go one time to Mustard Seed in your life, I heard. I've not even gone yet. Get a piece here and there free instead of that. Anyway, you come here, you're going to have my room if you want. I've got a single bed now. We'll hook this place up. We'll paint it and everything. You come up here. And I've got another room. There's just, if you come up here, watch the stairs, leave the bathroom light on, there's a key stash for you. If you come to my place, 1305 High Street, southwest corner of DeGroff, DeGroff, and High. It's about 1.5 miles due northwest of the tallest building downtown, Indiana Michigan Power. It's about 1 mile due south of Kroger's, 9/10. And 1 block over. Kroger's is 1120 something. I'm 1305. St. Mary's is 2 blocks east of me, and Kroger's right on the corner. It's 2 short blocks east of me. Anyway, I'm on the southwest corner. There's a lot right in the corner, and then I'm next over. There's only one house by me. If you park on that side, if you happen to be with somebody with wheels, park on the right side of my porch, but on the left side of the tree, don't go near that place over there. They're assholes. Because a bitch was accusing me of being a child molester or a sex offender, and I was the one putting them notes in the box warning the neighbors that there was a rapist downstairs, and they became friends with the dude, and she ain't got the fucking guts or the fucking honesty or depth to apologize. She's a dumb hick, man. That bitch is stupid. And it surprised me, I had to call the police on him because she told some crazy bitch down the street who was trying to attack me, and they were stalking me before that, yelling rapist. I didn't know it was them. This bitch comes up and attacks me out of nowhere one night trying to hit me. Bitch don't even know how to move, man. She was dumb. She could have been squashed. I called the police. I'm like, I ain't gonna fucking handle this shit because I'll kill you guys, man. You guys don't know what you're fucking with. She's got a big old dude, man, and he ain't no punk or anything. I see him out there. He's ready to scrap, but he's a pretty good dude. You know, that's the shitty thing. I think he's a good dude. I think he's got good ethics, but he's got back up his old lady. But she's dumb as hell. There's a couple things I like about her. She's a surprisingly good parent. I've never seen her put her hands on that kid. But I saw her being mean to another kid, and that's when I checked her, and that's why she didn't start liking me when she lived 2 houses down. Then one night, she was next door. I didn't know she was living there, and somebody had their fucking internet password on, and I'm like, you guys leave your password on? And she's like, no, don't talk to me, all this shit, man. She's just a nasty person. She's wrong. She can't admit it. Because right there in front of the police, they knew that I wasn't a sex offender. I told the cop, I said, I didn't know what he's saying. He said, did you register? So what are you talking about? And I didn't know that's what it was all about, man. And I didn't put all this together about her calling me a rapist and shit. I didn't know it at the time, but I'd heard a little bit. This cop says, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Dude, you call me a sex offender? I said, you got my name, son of a bitch. Look it up, you fucking faggot punk motherfucker. I said, look it up, bitch. He knew right then. Everybody knew that I was. And I said, oh, you motherfucking dumb idiots. None of them could admit they was wrong. Even the dumb bitch down the street that lived with that fucking crazy bitch who was laying out here flopping at 3 in the morning sometimes. They're gone, thank God. And the fuckers next door don't fuck with me because I'll gut them motherfuckers. I'd rather not because I like the dude, really. I think he's a good dude. And they're both good to that kid. But she's a nasty person who says vicious things like that. That is an awful person. Now, you've done some awful shit too with me. You can't say there's any excuse or reason at all. You can't use what I've done as any excuse at all, okay? Because you've harmed the kids. You removed people from their lives who, if you were for your kids, then you wouldn't, make a judgment call on that. But you